Did I already do that?
Yeah,
I think I did.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
If you want to know, or if anyone else wants to know what this podcast is about, just let them know that
We're just living.
we're just living.
We're just living. What is happening?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first ever episode of the Just Living podcast. So basically, my name is Upoponzele.
And I am the PK.
And we're basically an engaged couple from Durban. And this channel has been created for podcast content, conversation, reviews, basically, or mainly movie and restaurant reviews. And we've kind of left a blank space because whatever else kind of wants to throw itself at our direction.
You know, it's like we're just gonna make sure that it's nice content and we're just moving with it.
Yeah.
At this point.
Like whatever basically feeds us.
Yeah.
So thank you so much if you are tuning in for the first time.
If you are tuned in and watching. Thank you very much.
We really do appreciate the support. Please hit the subscribe button and please help us get to 100 subscribers.
500 subscribers.
Babe,
come on, guys. Let's push it. Push it.
Okay,
push it.
500.
500 subscribers. Come on, guys. We can do it. High five.
Okay, high five, baby.
High five.
500. High five 500. To you guys also. So I think a lot of people that are subscribed at this moment know us and are probably just supporting us.
Yes.
So
thank you for that.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you for the subscribe.
Please
Carry
share,
on subscribing.
Please share if you kind of into kind of the platforms and stuff. Just share stuff. Let people know to subscribe as well. That would mean kind of an awful lot to us.
Yep.
Yeah. So episode 1 is basically a major.
I think it's an intro. It's more like an intro on who we are, man.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
a lot of people don't know who we are
and kind of how we became us. How we became us.
I mean, that'll definitely be explored more on this podcast, man. We're not gonna spoil everything, like right here, like yo.
Not everything on the first episode.
Not everything on the first episode, man. Not everything on the first episode.
Yeah, but basically, episode 1 is titled "Coming from Different Worlds." Yes, baby.
And that is our third member
of the podcast, a very, very key, important member to this podcast being possible. I'd like you guys to just take a minute and thank him for the effort he's put into this this podcast today. But basically, we titled it "Coming from Different Worlds" because of our backgrounds. You know, when PK and I met, there definitely was a shock or like a wow, you definitely come from somewhere completely different to where I come from. And
city girls.
Not really. I mean,
city girls.
Not really. I mean,
guys, well, I'm kidding.
But baby, tell us a bit more obviously about your background.
I come from obviously not obviously, a lot of you obviously do not know that. My apologies. I come from the south coast of KZN, from Potchefstroom. A lot of people just know it as Potchefstroom, but obviously there's Margate, and I come from Eqilima. That's the rural part of Margate. It's a part of the.
You were born there, hey baby?
In Potchefstroom. Yes.
Well, like in Eqilima.
Yes, I was born there. Yeah. Well, not obviously at home. I was born in Potchefstroom, but I was born there. I have 2 brothers. I've got a couple of sisters. And I am the youngest. Oh, can I even say that? Yeah. But you know how
you are the youngest baby. He's like the teddy bear of the family. He's like the little cute favorite. Like all his aunts and grandmoms are like, oh, where's Upaka by them? They're like, he's definitely over 30. But okay.
I am over 30. But I am
but he's still adored, like for real.
I come from there, and I think growing up, obviously, we didn't have a lot. I remember us getting our first blankets, like full blankets without holes. That I think it was a Christmas. It was such a good day. And, you know, from that point on, the family just started literally just getting better and better.
Yeah.
Obviously, dad was working, mom was working, and like growing up, my childhood was very nice. It was very nice. Obviously, up to a certain point, where obviously, or not obviously. Sorry, guys. I'll probably say obviously
he uses
because
obviously a lot.
Yeah.
It's obvious to him.
Yeah.
And to me.
Yeah.
Because I already know the story, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my dad passed on, sadly, and we had to move to the suburbs. Obviously that was very exciting coming from a rural area. It was very I went with my mom to go check out the house.
Yeah.
No one else was there. It was me and my mom. So she told me not to tell anyone. Yeah, she was like, do not tell anyone that we're gonna be out here in the burbs. Kept that shit shut. I couldn't stop smiling when we went back home.
Baby.
I couldn't stop smiling.
Yeah.
And she told the family, I think 2 or 3 days after that, because they had to lock the deal for the house. And we moved to the burbs. So I stayed in Margate. So we moved to Margate, and I think, was it later on that year? I'm not too sure.
Sorry, actually, while kind of the shift between kind of living obviously in the farm to living in the burbs, were you still going to the same school?
I was still going to the same school.
Oh, okay.
They made sure that we get a very good education.
Yeah.
So we went to Margate Primary, my brothers and I. So also that shift there from obviously being the rural boy, in Margate Primary, and then obviously being able to, the kids in the burbs used to just go walk home.
Because it was obviously in the area.
And being able to do that was such a, it was very nice. I'm walking home, guys. I'll see you later. No taxis here. Fuck yeah.
Baby.
Yeah. So I think as you grow up, a lot of, you kind of form your worldview from everything that's happening. The first kind of crash in life was my dad passing. Basically nothing is forever and someone can literally leave you. So I think that was my first real world, whoa, actually stuff can literally change in a minute. I think I started there. And then obviously a year later, my mom sadly passed on also while we're in the burbs, and that was the major, it just reinforced that
things
nothing,
kind of change,
not even things kind of change, nothing's forever, it literally just instilled that. And having brothers around helped a lot, and it kind of formed, I think, what I have now, or this loyalty stance, because we literally grew up together I don't know, you know how we are even right now.
You guys are one. You
it's
guys are literally one person.
You effort one, you effort all of us, basically.
Literally, if one hurts, you guys all hurt. So I think, babe, just that change for me it's always so kind of big, when you talk about it, because it's always just you had to learn at such a young age, and it's such a huge kind of mind and mental and heart shock, babe, at such a young age,
I think I was 9 when it happened the first time with my dad, and then I was 10 with my mom. So I feel even I was still trying to learn myself at that point.
Of course, I mean, babe, you were
plus as a guy, there's so much pressure being a guy. I'm sure guys know, there's so much pressure that we have, whether it's girls or it's mostly girls. It's mostly girls.
Oh, baby. I mean, that's amazing though, that you guys were actually able to kind of mend it together, through that experience. I mean, I know there's nothing positive that comes from that experience, but the fact that you guys were able to kind of heal the heartbreak together and kind of mend together, I think is something so important, love. I see why you see life the way you see it. So just to give a background, when I met PK, I'll tell you guys a bit more about my background, but because of my background, I wasn't hyper give a shit about deeply what anyone feels. I didn't care. Like it was like I cared about the major things. Like obviously if I see that, okay, you're really sad now, like obviously that bothered me and stuff. But like I didn't really take into account, like if something felt small to me, surely it's small to you.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that makes sense. If you're getting touched by something that I deem as tiny, then like why are you getting so touched by it emotionally, you know? While as PK had such a sense of care for kind of how you feel and a sense of its importance, and it matters how you feel regardless of what my intention was. And for me, I couldn't split that kind of intention thing. You know, I couldn't split that. If I didn't mean to hurt you, then why you hurt? Because I didn't mean to. Obviously, if that's not...
that was a bit... We fought a lot
about that. Like, but to just give kind of a background of my family, like in terms of my upbringing, yes, I was kind of... my siblings kind of lived... When my siblings were around, we were already kind of in the suburban kind of life and stuff. But for me...
sorry, love. From what I heard, you've been in the suburb life because you also, lived in a flat. Yeah,
I lived in a flat. But babe, like, when I was much younger than that, when I was about 3, 4, I lived in Waterloo. Okay. In like a one room with my mom. And my dad lived in the city in the flat. Okay. And my mom worked at Gateway as like a shop something. I think it was, I don't know if it was CNA, but like one of those kind of shops at that time. And so I would go to school with like the neighbors, like the older high school girl in the neighborhood. She would fetch me. We'd go to, she'd drop me off at creche, and then we'd walk back. Like she'd pick me up from creche as well, and then I'd be at my mom's house. But I always had kind of a toe, I guess, in kind of the suburban surroundings. But I think what was major for me is the fact that I kind of had life where it was just with my mom, and then they kind of transitioned from them kind of living separately to them then living together. So I kind of watched them kind of come together. So at a point we moved to Johannesburg. And we moved we actually moved a lot, guys. Like during my childhood, I'd say a lot. It was very messy. Like in terms of the moving around, we moved to Escort for a while, then Johannesburg, then finally back to Durban when my sister was born, which means I was about 5. And then I kind of attended primary school, and I lived in a flat, and life had changed. Like life had definitely
no shocks. Like no, like when you were forming your worldview, like no kind of life shocks or anything. Maybe obviously like what I spoke about.
The life shocks, I think, happened to me when I was too young.
I
didn't feel the transition of, okay, I've gone from kind of Klala Elokshini to living in the burbs because I was kind of too young. I just saw it happening. My kind of changes, like the major changes when I was small, didn't really, I think, affect me mentally. Not that I can track back to say, that affected me mentally, because I was too young. Like I just remember that we went from, like, there were moments, yes, in my life that were like tiny moments that were like, oh my gosh, like that's scary for a little girl to go through, but they weren't really.
Definitely.
I think because of like the reason I kind of emphasized the not kind of caring about emotions and stuff, or kind of what I say is obviously what it is, and I don't care how it kind of makes you feel. It kind of started when I was kind of really, really young. We had finally moved down from Johannesburg. So yes, I was about 5, 6. And then I had basically a background of sexual abuse. And it was basically like a family relative. And I didn't feel like I was allowed to tell anyone. And I don't think it was anyone's fault, like I don't think people created an environment where it was like, I'm not allowed to talk about that thing. But I think I was so young and I was so confused about what was happening that my mind just kind of locked it away. Like, okay, let me just lock that away and it must just never come out, And then from that point on, I just kind of had this really kind of hard,
I definitely
hard
saw,
shell, you know? Like I just had a difficult shell, you know? There was lots of abusive tone that you felt like you're not allowed to react to, you're not allowed to be upset about because the other person is just joking, or the other person is a superior to you. So you're not allowed to show sadness, or you're not allowed to show emotion. That's how it was. I've shouted at you. You're not allowed to be upset about what I said because I'm your superior. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was joking. Yeah, I said something about your weight, or about, you know, how you look, or how big your bum is, but because I was joking and I'm your superior, you can't be upset about it, you know? Jeez. If I would show like being sad about it, a joke, it would be like, oh my gosh, really? Like, and then I'd get shouted at for kind of feeling sad, you know what I mean? So that's exactly what I projected.
Yeah. No,
like PK would be like, he'd react to something and I'd be like, really? I was joking. Like, stop being so sensitive. Like, that was literally, I'm sure you guys can relate.
I definitely, you know, we definitely had our fair share of, you know, Khwailan. That's what we used to call it. But, you know, we never had that kind of energy of just even someone older talking down on you, even if you were a kid and stuff like that. So I do not have that in my background at all. So
you never.
When you came with that, I was like, oh, okay, this is different. Like, what's happening? Yeah, you know.
And I never understood it. Like, I never got it because that's just where I came from, you know. And in my world, you had to be okay with it. Like. Just grow up.
Jeez.
Like, just toughen up. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, you know, especially if it's funnier to most people. Like, imagine the whole room laughing and then you cry about something. It's like you're wrong for being upset because everyone can see that it's funny.
Yeah.
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 How did you kind of adapt to life after your parents?
Internalize like a lot of stuff that I do. You know, a lot of people don't even know what the hell this guy is thinking. I've always internalized stuff. Even for you, it was very hard for her to literally crack me. Or anyone 40, and I'm not even saying that in a kind of
he wasn't
way,
trying.
man.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like he was trying to be closed off or trying to be hard. It was just obviously
the stuff that I've gone through, and you know, it kind of made me that person to keep, and it's just always worked for me to just keep everything to myself, you know. Only if I need to tell you, you know, I can speak to my brothers, I can speak to you now, and I only say it if I feel like it's literally gonna make a difference. But if I don't, I'm literally just gonna internalize it. We formed a group. It was literally like a brotherhood, and of guys, obviously teenagers. You know, we've got the whole house to ourselves. Drinking, girls, and just having fun, like all teenagers do.
Lots of stories,
you know,
lots of.
It's a rite of passage.
I can't even imagine being out partying as a teenager. Like, oh my gosh, I had zero freedom. Like, I was not allowed to step out anywhere. I don't know if it's just a strict girl parent thing. Like obviously our parents are just stricter to the girls that way.
You guys just get pregnant, so
you make us pregnant. You make us pregnant. We do not get pregnant by ourselves, mister.
I know, but I'm just saying that, Luguti, it's more because you guys do just get pregnant.
But I mean, you guys
not
make people pregnant.
I don't mean it in an insensitive way. I just mean that, Luguti, like, it's easy for it to show that you guys were out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for guys, it's not.
Do you still think you treat your girl differently to your guys today? Do you still think like you'd raise your girl different to your boy today?
Obviously with what I know now, no. You know, I'd have to treat them the same, but I think more emphasis on the girl because I know how guys are. So you know, everyone knows how guys are.
In kind of a caring way as well, like in kind of a more sensitive way. I think I would have. A lot of my rebellion came from my strict ass parents. It was not because, like, I'm sorry, like I became rebellious because of my strict parents. I became a liar because of my strict parents. I knew how to maneuver because of my strict parents. I took and drew almost nothing from that experience. And I don't know if it's because I'm more of an emotional person where you can come to me and just talk to me and I'll hear you more than if you just come to me and shout at me. If you just come to me and I understand why you're saying what you're saying and why you feel the way you feel and why you think I should behave this way, I have a high chance of hearing you and listening to you than if you just come to me and say, you're a girl, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, and that's because I say so, because this is who I am in your life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am, if you come to me with that,
she doesn't like that. She doesn't like to be told what to do.
It's still today.
That was something else that we had.
That was another thing that was a difference from our backgrounds. PK just learned really early. Whenever there was kind of a stern sense of
we have to do this. We have to do this. So your part is this and this. Being told what to do.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's not all bad background. We have a lot of fun with my brothers. You know, my brother had an event company, and new worldviews were formed there, relationships. Obviously, I think relationships, learning life, as a teenager, and then varsity, Durban, I think, if you come from a coast, you just go to Durban. No, because a lot of people went to Joburg also.
Okay, so because of your upbringing, babe, what was your view on the world? What was your view on intimate relationships?
The mentality was on to the next one, to be honest. I obviously did have serious relationships, which they were not onto the next ones, but a lot of the other ones were just like onto the next one. But I think majority of the serious relationships that I was in, I really was like a semi-committed guy, like as a teenager would be, and it formed a view, like Uguti, the stuff that you can do, stuff that you can't do. But I didn't have like a strong opinion like I do have now. I just thought that I still had the opinion on Uguti, guys are right. Guys can do this, girls cannot do this. Like that was like a serious thing I came with, I think, to our relationship. Guys can do this because, patriarchy and
what the boys say kind of thing.
The boys like,
I think my view in relationship was kind of hideous. Like, because of my childhood, just looking, it was terrible, babe. Like, it was terrible, you guys. Like, it was terrible. So, basically, because of my, the way kind of superiors in my life, superior men viewed women or treated women in front of us, I was so kind of disgusted by it that I was like, no man can treat me like that. Like, no man's ever allowed to treat me like that. In fact, if this is what boys do, then I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to be the one doing the heartbreaking, and I'm going to be the one doing the cheating, and I'm going to be the one treating you like crap. Like, I was like, I'll do it first. Before you go and do it, and then go and laugh at me with your friends or whatever. I was like, no, you're definitely not keeping that part of me. Like, it was terrible. Like, gosh, like, get out before anyone has hurt you. Get out before anyone hurts you. Hurt first. Like, that was the mentality. Terrible, right?
Yeah. And like, did you was that there when we met also?
When we met, no, when we met, I had taken a break from relationships in general. I wasn't really dating anyone seriously.
Okay.
And also when we met, I had a couple of, the year before, I had a heartbreak situation where someone did kind of make me feel how I've been making other people feel in a way. I think I've told you a little bit about the story, but basically met this boy and it was the other way around and stuff. Like, I wasn't prepared to be the heartbreaker this time around, and so he did the heartbreaking. And it was like, what the fuck? Like, I am confused. My brain cells are mushed and lost and confused. Like, and then I was kind of just like, I don't know if I want other people feeling like this anymore. Like, I don't know if I want to make a person feel like this anymore. Like, and that was just before I met you. I didn't even know who anyone was. I just knew I'm not sure if I want anyone to kind of feel like this, you know?
Yeah.
And then I had a point of just being on my own. That whole year, nothing really serious was happening in terms of relationships, you know, obviously flirts here and there, but it wasn't really like anything serious. I was just being by myself, and I was going through a lot mentally that year. Like year, like I don't know if I knew that year something big was going to happen, because I felt shifts happen in my body, in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit. Like I just felt that there was some shift happening, and it was actually the year I turned 16. So the year that I turned 16, so from grade 10 into grade 11 and onwards that year, it was just a lot of kind of getting to know God and a lot of praying. And I wasn't like, I didn't even get to know God intentionally. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like I literally started out with going to SCA in my high school because there was free cake and coffee, and I was like, well, I want free cake. Like I want free cake. Like what's this? Like cake, you know? Yo. So that's how I started going. And then I had this LO teacher, Miss Govern Sami, who I'll always love forever. She was like, you know, just come into SCA and just see what happens, you know? So she had just taken over SCA, and she was always so fond of me, and I don't know why, but she was always just such a sweet, just, I told you, I relate more and I listen more and I obey more to people who just show care. Like that is who I can say I'll ever be able to kind of submit to or humble myself to. It's people who show care and tenderness. Like those are the people that I can, like, that I feel like deserve respect from you, deserve kind of humbleness from me. That's how you get me. Do you know what I mean? So she was just always so tender and caring, and even in her discipline, you always knew it was the best for you. You always knew her intentions were always for you to understand why you have to get disciplined the way you're doing, you know, if you didn't do your projects or whatever the case may be.
The best way. It's definitely the best way.
I just had an understanding of when I was wrong with her. Like, and it's not like I was wrong all the time or often, but I just had an understanding, even when she'd teach others in front of me and in front of our class. I just have an understanding of being incorrect and not wanting to be correct again. I don't know. So that's when I kind of started praying and connecting to God and realizing that there's just something inside of me, like just this really weird spirit energy working. And I used to just pray, and I knew that they were just forces that my body was fighting at the time, you know, just negative forces in my life that I knew God was fighting for me. I just didn't know what they were, who they were, what it had to do with. So when I met PK, I was not expecting him at all. I wasn't looking. I wasn't searching. I'm okay.
Is that the flu, or you escape it?
It's just a sniff, Dad. It's just a little snotty.
You have to come in there, Pat. Stop everything.
Thank you, baby. No, where was I? Oh, when I met PK, So it was a shock. I wasn't expecting him. I didn't expect him in my life. I didn't even think it was real. I just knew how I felt about him, you know. The first day I met him, I was like, what the hell? There's no way anyone, like there's no way anyone can be this good. Like this person, like I can't believe it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the feelings when I first kind of kissed PK, it made me feel so kind of emotional because I never knew that that's how you're supposed to feel when you're intimate with the person that you love and care about. I did not know that it's supposed to come from you to actually want to cuddle this person or hug this person or kiss this person or want this person to kind of hold you. I didn't know that that's naturally supposed to come from you. I just thought it's what you had to do when you're in a relationship. You have to kiss, you have to hug, you have to cuddle. Like these are just things you have to do because that's what people do in relationships. Like Which, now that I'm obviously talking about how I felt when I met you and kind of the things I didn't know I was supposed to feel, I didn't know what being really felt like, guys. Like, I didn't know that until I did. And then when I did, like, no shade to anyone who I've been with before, do you know what I mean? Like, but I was like, I wish I didn't, because I wasn't ready, because I didn't know. I didn't know I could say no. I didn't know I could say no. And not because of them, but because of my upbringing and because of what I had gone through. Yeah. So I'm saying that kind of brings me to like the next question, which is, how did meeting me kind of make you feel with regards to, you know, how our worlds were set up and stuff?
I think I was just, especially when I moved back to Durban for the new work, I felt like I was in lingo, man. Like,
I mean, I can relate to that.
I wasn't really doing anything with my life. I feel like obviously I just gotten a new job and stuff, but I wasn't really doing anything. And I was here and there, and, you know, I was kind of leading more towards like the negative stuff in my life, you know. I was doing a lot of, I'd just say negative stuff that don't promote growth. So, and I didn't want to do that. It's just that I did that because there was nothing else to do. Because what are you going to do Friday afternoon, you know? So yeah, you literally also came at the right time in my life. What are you laughing at?
You said, what else are you supposed to do Friday afternoon? And then you went. So it looked
mommy. Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just looked very like.
maybe it's my any body language is like trying to clap me. I'm kidding. None of that.
No, guys, none of that. But still, lots of drinking.
Just, you know, hang out with the guys. So you came at the right time when I was in limbo. And obviously I wasn't waiting for it or anything, you know. I didn't know this is what it was going to be. You know, and obviously we're still going to talk about the story about how we, you know, the actual date, but I was literally planning on watching something on YouTube that day when you guys came through, and I wasn't even planning on it. And it just happened. So like it was like a switch, just like let me just actually go chill with you guys and stuff. But what was the question?
The question was, how did it make you feel?
Oh, how did it make me feel? So I was explaining that I was still kind of in limbo. Yeah. And you literally came. Sorry guys.
It's fine, baby.
Yeah. So I was still the same person, the kind of who had really strong views about strong views. I just had like a view, you know, but guys go to, you know, mom if and stuff like that. I just had that. And I think I just came with that, you know. And a lot of the stuff was just formed with us talking, you know, and literally engaging and then exchanging ideas, but also just like what we view things as, because you know, we had different opinions on stuff. So I came in with my, you know, you need to do this. We had a whole fight about how she does it. She comes to my place and she doesn't clean.
Because
I was like, baby, why you come here and don't clean?
I know a lot of girlies are gonna have my back in this comment section. A lot of girls are gonna have my back in this comment section, guys.
Oh, that's your by day.
He said, why don't I clean if I come early to his place?
Yeah.
His place. And worse, it's not that it's his place. It's his place that he's sharing with his flatmate, who was not the neatest at the time. I said...
My room was private.
No.
Yeah.
That's where
why don't you clean, lady?
I think I put out a statement like a...
Yeah, you ain't done shit. I think it was like, nigga, you ain't done shit. Like, I'm not gonna come over and clean. Yeah, she was very. I was like,
yeah, I went off.
Very strong. I don't want to say feminist, but she advocates for herself and obviously other females. But
I think
she was like that.
The middle ground. Like, he got my perspective. Like,
yeah, no, I definitely got it. Obviously,
and obviously I hear.
I mean, you also, Patty, you
of
also
what
like
you
a
meant,
bit,
baby.
yeah.
Like, I hear a little bit of what you meant. Like, but I think at the time I didn't kind of expect it. Like, I didn't expect for that to happen so soon in our relationship. And also I kind of, because again, you lived with someone, and for me, I mean, you know my history with washing dirty ass dishes, like me cleaning, like I just imagine like me cleaning someone's, like where the egg was, like and the egg yolk was, and I just went berserk. I was like, no. Like, and it's actually so kind of weird because PK is such a neat person. I had Fridays where it was just his cornflakes bowl, that's what he ate in the mornings, or cereal bowl, and I would wash that. That didn't mean much to me. Like, didn't mean much to me. But then I'd walk in sometimes and legit, there's like a pan there and a thingy there. And I'm just like, no.
Yeah, it was a boys' apartment. And
I'd like to leave this
so
chat here.
I came with that. Like, you know, and you guys need to kind of do some stuff.
Yeah. That was kind of the mentality. But and obviously.
Yeah, and you also came with your kind of like, you know, I'm this, basically. Yeah,
I'm amazing anyway.
Yeah.
That was kind of
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you take anything from my world and adapt it to yours?
I think in terms of
in
relationship,
terms of anything, like relationships or who I am, just my obviously my background has a huge impact on who I am, how I go about things, how relationships.
You obviously, you didn't mention that you were first team in primary, first team and house captain and all that stuff, you know, and that was different for me. And you know, you always like a go-getter, and like basically you need to be number one. She has to be number one, and you just have that drive. Obviously you definitely brought that, because that was different for me, and I've never been with someone, you know, how you got your colors at such a young age. Also, you had colors, and your blazer obviously had those stripes. I never had those stripes back in high school. I mean, I always wanted them, but I never applied myself. But you know, so when you kind of told me your black story about how you got that and how it happened for you, and how people were trying to block you and you were able to do it at such a young age, that was very inspirational to me. And I kind of understood, Guti, we definitely come from different. You know, you went to early schools swimming. I never did like any of that. Like, you know, the how you grew up and what you did and what you got, those medals, being number one, being house captain.
If I can,
was definitely like, yo.
I think if I can talk about the positivity of my upbringing, it was definitely that, like, my environment forced me to be the go-getter. I suppose if in my life I can credit my upbringing, I can credit like my work, my hard work or my drive to my upbringing, because I was like, this environment definitely forced me to be go-getting and hardworking, and you know, I have to go out there and push and be confident. No one's gonna do it for you. Like, just go and do it. Like, just go and do it. Like, that definitely was a huge factor from my upbringing, because I started it when I was young, you know, and I don't think that I could say that it was just myself who contributed to that, because of the fact that I started at such a young age, you know. But I do think that was also kind of my personality, and I think that was also a lot of kind of God and my ancestors coming through really early in my life. Like, when I look back at those moments and the amount of blessings that even happened to me from the time I was young. And I mean, I know obviously now when you look back, you know, having doing well in basketball and being a vice captain in grade 7 isn't like that's God. Like, when you're older, it doesn't feel that way. But when I was younger, I felt that way. Like, I felt like, yo, like, I'm so fortunate. Like, really like God sees me, like that's how I felt, because it was those were the achievements that were important to me at that age, you know. So I can definitely credit it to that. But also in terms of kind of how I felt when you came into my life, I definitely felt safety, like, and I don't know why you projected such a secure thing about yourself, but I definitely felt safety, which allowed for that part of me that I didn't want to come out. I did not try to speak to you about the dark side, like the part about myself that I thought was just too dark and too undeserving and doesn't really deserve care and love. Like, I didn't think that would ever I would ever tell anyone about that. But at some point I just did. Like, I was just so open with you from the beginning. And it was both scary, like, I'm not going to lie and say that the risk wasn't the confusion, the how fast we kind of moved and even emotionally and spiritually, just how connected we were at such a quick pace was scary. Because sometimes things like that finish quickly.
To us, you know, we've been in accidents together.
Freak accident. Oh my God.
Freak accident on the freeway. So a lot happened, Jay. And a lot was happening in her life also.
Like, but even the good stuff too. Like, even though there was like accident, like that was like a very life-threatening situation for both of us and stuff. There was also just so much good vibes. Like, I was like, what the hell? Like, we spoke to each other whether we were next to each other, whether we were on the phone with each other. Like, if I was on my phone, I was speaking to PK. If I'm not here, I'm probably at PK.
That was like, also something very different for me. You know, you kind of keep a goal at arm's length, kind of like, you know, I talk to you when I'm free type of thing, and you were the first kind of like with that, like, talk, and you'd be so landed that I'm not replying to your texts and stuff like that. So that was different for me. I was like,
he definitely came with that, guys. Like, he came in
slow. I came in chilled.
No, baby, do not call that chilled. Okay, you not wanting to speak on the phone with me or call me to say goodnight is not chill, baby. That was weird. That was a red flag.
Like, I didn't come from that. Like,
I get it.
I'm just saying, but I didn't come from that. Like, why? You know, I'll text you. Good night. So
I was like, okay, well, I spent a lot of time kind of fighting it. You have to text me good night. Like, you have to call me and say good night, or at least call and say good morning, or send me a good morning text. So he was like, no, I don't have to do that. Why? Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, cool. Don't do it. Then I just kept quiet.
She just kept quiet.
Then,
like, yo.
Then what happened, baby?
Why? And then I was the one asking why I'm not. Why are you not talking to me? Why
He's the one like, why aren't you texting to me? Why is she saying good night? Why is she saying good morning? I'm like, but you said, you know, that's not important.
Girls just take it to the extreme though. Like, I feel like you took it to the extreme a bit. I was like,
yeah. I guess now I kind of just want to know, how do you think we worked? Because honestly, just starting this conversation with coming from different worlds, that's such a breakup line, and that's such a relevant reason to separate, to break up, to kind of not continue your life together, to not see a future together, because you come from different worlds. So how the hell are different worlds right now kind of
together
working?
Compromise.
You think so?
I think a lot of compromise. Do you think you have to
shed parts of yourself to be in this relationship?
Yeah. I think you are a person who kind of thinks deeply, like, into stuff. Like, you know, when we kind of talk, we kind of we're not surface level. We kind of like go straight into it. So it kind of makes you think also, because you know, a lot of the stuff that I hadn't really looked at it the way that you made me look at it. You know, kind of like, if you were in my shoes, like, how would you feel if I did this type of thing? You know.
That was a big one.
Yeah, that was a huge one. Like, I just started seeing stuff from a different view from that point, you know. It was just being understanding, number one, and number two, trying what's this like compromising. You know, being able to take your views and actually put a microscope on them, and kind of firstly that, and then obviously compromise and say, okay, we can kind of meet in the middle for this. Yeah.
I think I had to realize the parts of me that weren't serving me in this relationship and that weren't serving me as a person, as an individual, especially if I wanted to build a future with this person and if I wanted to be the person I want to be in the future as well. So effectively, I had to shed parts of myself too.
Yeah.
I had to, but it wasn't. Not a lot of it feels like a compromise. The only compromise would be just the fact that we obviously had different views on certain stuff.
Yeah.
And so whenever there's different views on certain stuff, we both always compromise and make sure that we reach kind of a center point where everyone is happy at the end of the day. But I had to shed parts of myself that I felt like, you know what, this is not going to serve me and it's not serving this relationship either. And that was important to me at the point we were at in our relationship, which was, I think, around the engagement phase and stuff. Yeah. It was important to me that the relationship was important enough to me to shed parts that weren't serving me or the relationship, you know?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll obviously touch on those points later on in later episodes. Yeah.
Which is funny because my next question is literally, is a relationship ever worth shedding parts of you?
Definitely. I think you definitely need to kind of
we're about to say goodbye to you guys because we have a little moody person here. He's very angry at us for not speaking to him.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you guys
sorry
hear
about
someone
that,
in
guys.
the background, we're very sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the parts that when you do re-look into, you see that, you know, they need shedding. I 100% agree to that. You know, not good traits, you know, not who you are. You mustn't
but also,
shed who you are, you know.
I don't think that a person who loves you that way would want you to shed parts about yourself that are good or that you love. I was saying that I don't think that a person who truly loves you for you should want you to shed parts of yourself that you like and parts of yourself that bring you solace and peace. Like, for example, PK has a me time, which is something he instills in his routine where it's just a time either in the afternoon or on the weekends where he just wants to be alone and it's just him and his laptop and he's not doing anything deep, like it's not like meditation or anything, but he's just relaxing and being on his own and just being on his laptop, per YouTube or movie or whatever he wants to do there. And he kind of for that moment just wants to feel like he has nothing to commit to. He has no responsibilities. He has, you know what I mean? It's just him doing him. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I think that we've covered some of the most important things. But if there again is anything you guys would actually like us to explore and cover and talk about, we would love to. Obviously, again, so long as it's kind of relevant to us. We'll be dropping episodes weekly. So do look out for the next episode next week.
So if you haven't subscribed,
please subscribe. And if you liked this video, please give us a thumbs up. Give us a comment if you liked it as well. Share it with your friends. It would mean so much to us. Just for our subscriptions to kind of grow. Guys.
And obviously we'll always try and bring you guys, you know, the best content on this platform that we just started. And hopefully help some other, you know, couples out there. And
PK and I always said before we started this, like, even if we just reach one person in a really meaningful way, that would mean so much to us.
Chill.
All right, guys, see you in the next one.
All right, peace. Thanks, guys.